Every year, people claim to capture something impossible on camera. Dark shapes moving through the trees, shadows crossing highways in a single stride, eyes staring back from the forest, unblinking. Some insist it's just tricks of light, shaky footage, or hoaxes made to go viral. But when you see the size, the speed, and the silence in these clips, you start to wonder. Because if these encounters are real, it means something enormous is still out there, watching. The creature carrying a deer. This picture was taken on Navajo tribal land Mogollon Rim region in Arizona. It shows a tall, upright figure moving through the brush. The shape looks massive, with long arms and broad shoulders, covered in a brown, fur-like coat. What makes it more unsettling is that it appears to be carrying a deer across its body, as if the animal was nothing more than a load to haul. The image is blurry, but the outline is clear enough to raise questions. It doesn't move like a bear, and the way it holds the deer suggests great strength and balance. If real, it matches many of the scariest Bigfoot encounters, where the creature is seen dragging animals or stealing livestock. People often dismiss such photos as hoaxes or mistakes, but the thought of a huge, unknown creature walking freely with its prey is chilling. What do you think? The Alaskan Sasquatch with an infant. Near the Dalton Highway in Alaska, a strange figure was caught on camera. At first glance, it looked like a dark shape against the rocks, but on closer look, it appeared to be more than that. The figure had the size and build of a Sasquatch, crouched on a cliff ledge overlooking the road. The image showed what seemed to be a smaller form held close in its arms. Many believe this could be an infant Bigfoot, cradled by its mother as she kept watch. The trucker who stopped nearby had no idea he was being observed from above. The frozen Alaskan wilderness has always been full of mysteries, but this sighting stood out. If true, it suggests these creatures may not only exist, but also live in family groups, hidden away from people in the remote stretches of land. It was a rare and haunting glimpse into something unknown. The creature on the freeway. It was rush hour in South Dallas when traffic crawled to a standstill. Out of nowhere, something enormous darted across the freeway. For a moment, every driver froze, staring at the massive figure racing across the lanes near exit 425, not far from the Dallas Zoo. The area sits at the edge of the Trinity River Preserve, a thick stretch of woods and shadows. In broad daylight, though, no one expected to see a giant creature leaping across 4 lanes. Yet dozens of people claimed they saw it. Witnesses described it as towering, with arms longer than a man's and hair hanging down. It cleared the road in just 3 strides before vanishing into the tree line. One driver swore it was bigger than a car. Theories spread quickly. Some thought it was an escaped gorilla, others insisted it was Bigfoot, but the size and speed also matched a bear rearing on 2 legs. Whatever it was, the mystery still lingers. The Mika Hulk of Tucson. Near Tucson, Arizona, a trail camera captured something unusual. The camera had been placed about 10 feet above the ground, angled down into a dry creek bed. When the images were reviewed, one stood out, a hulking figure staring directly into the lens. The creature looked massive. Since the camera itself was mounted 10 feet high and the figure's eyes were level with it, the height was estimated to be at least 10 feet. Its broad frame was harder to measure, but it was clear the figure was built like a giant. Locals who saw the photo nicknamed it the Mika Hulk, a strange and mysterious figure unlike any known animal in the region. To this day, the image remains one of the most talked about trail camera captures near Tucson, leaving many to wonder what exactly was walking through that dry creek bed late at night. The Vancouver Island capture. In late November, a man from Nanaimo, British Columbia set up his trail camera near Kennedy Lake on Vancouver Island. The camera, equipped with infrared, captured something unusual during the night. The image showed what looked like a large face staring directly toward the lens. Based on the angle and camera placement, the figure appeared to stand around 8 to 9 feet tall. The following frame made the sighting more compelling. The figure was no longer in the same spot, suggesting it had moved or vanished from view. This ruled out the chance of it being just light or shadow. A closer look, using a light filter, brought out more detail. The shape resembled the head and face of a creature many believe to be Sasquatch. Vancouver Island has long been considered a hotspot for Bigfoot sightings, and this capture adds to that reputation. Some believe it could be real evidence of a Vancouver Island Sasquatch. The figure in the stream. A game warden and his son were patrolling a remote stretch of wilderness when they saw something strange in a shallow stream. A tall figure stood there, silent and still, as if it belonged to the place. They quickly pulled out a phone and began filming. The creature was massive, its body covered in thick, dark hair. It moved slowly through the water, calm and unbothered, almost as if it knew it was being watched. It never looked their way, never reacted, and gave no sign of fear. The sight was unsettling. The figure looked just like the descriptions people often give of Bigfoot: huge, wild, and mysterious. Yet no one could say for sure what it was. Out there in the woods, far from anyone else, it seemed like a reminder that some things may still be hiding, waiting to be seen. The figure in the woods. A blurry photo taken in the woods shows a dark figure standing between the trees. Its body looks tall and muscular, with long arms and a shape too human-like to dismiss. The strange blur adds to the fear, making it unclear whether it was a person or something else. Many scary Bigfoot encounters describe the same feeling this photo gives. People say the forest suddenly turns quiet, and a heavy sense of being watched takes over. The creature often stands still, just observing before slipping back into the trees. It is not just the figure itself, but the uneasy silence around it that makes the sight so disturbing. The giant wolf of Chilcot. During a 3-day trip in the remote Chilcotin area, a group of hikers spotted something that left them stunned. Out of the forest, a massive creature appeared and ran quickly into the woods. Its size stood out immediately, towering against the trees and the landscape around it. At first glance, many assumed it was a bear, but the way it moved told a different story. It ran with the speed and stride of a wolf. Only, it wasn't the kind of wolf anyone had seen before. It was far larger, closer to the size of the prehistoric direwolf that is believed to be extinct. Some began to wonder if it was something beyond the natural world, perhaps a creature of myth like the Dogman or even a werewolf. Whatever it was, one thing was certain. No one there had ever seen a wolf of that size before.
Okay, I found one.
Look at how fast it's running up that thing.
Holy!
I could probably get that.
I'm on the video. Holy crap! Oh my god! He's behind the trees right now.
The vanishing figure in the woods. Some Bigfoot researchers believe the creature can cloak itself, blending into its surroundings so well that it seems invisible. This idea comes from eyewitness accounts where people claimed the figure vanished in front of them or they felt its presence without ever seeing it. One recent video added fuel to this theory. A man filming in the woods captured something unusual. In the clip, a faint outline of a tall, hunched figure appeared. It looked translucent, almost ghost-like, and barely visible. Slowed down, the footage shows the shape moving with a posture that doesn't match ordinary animals. Theories are split into two directions. Some suggest biological camouflage, like a chameleon or octopus changing its skin to blend in. Others believe it's paranormal, with Bigfoot slipping between dimensions or using unseen energy fields. But what do you think?
You see that? Over there, look, over there. You see that?
What the hell?
Wait, cause that was it again, right there. Wait.
I don't like this.
You see that? Right there. Look.
Oh my god. That's not an animal. I don't like it.
Okay, fuck. Go. Fuck.
The Creature by the Colorado River. A group of hikers was moving through the wilderness near the Colorado River when something strange caught their eyes. Far in the distance, a massive figure stood tall, covered in thick hair. It wasn't moving like any normal animal, and its size made it even more unsettling. Some believed it could be the legendary Bigfoot. Local stories had long whispered of strange creatures linked to hidden portals in this region. Sightings weren't new, but this moment felt different. The figure seemed to watch them from afar, then slowly faded back into the landscape. The hikers stood frozen, torn between fear and awe. They couldn't explain what they had just seen, but they knew it wasn't ordinary. Whether it was Bigfoot or something else, the memory of that shadowy giant near the river would never them. The mystery still lingers, with no clear answers even today. The biker's footage. A man was biking through a dusty trail in a North American forest, focused on the path ahead. The ride felt ordinary, with nothing unusual catching his eye. He talked casually about the weather, the snow, and the trail, as if it were just another day outdoors. Later, back home, he went through the footage from his ride. That's when something unexpected appeared. Among the bare branches, a tall figure stood, rising more than 8 feet high. At first it looked like a shadow, but the outline was too distinct to ignore. The recording wasn't sharp, but the size and shape stood out. The more he replayed it, the more certain he became. He hadn't noticed it while biking, but his camera had picked up something strange. To him, it seemed clear he had unknowingly filmed Bigfoot.
It's the beginning of May. This area, technically, growing season is June 1st, so it could still snow again. That's why the trees aren't going to take their chances coming out yet. Now this one we drove by, it didn't look like it was clogged, but we'll see. That's why the trees aren't going to take their chances coming out yet. Now this one we drove by, it didn't look like it was clogged, but we'll see.
The shadow on the bridge. A strange video surfaced on Reddit, showing what some people believe could be a mountain beast. The clip begins with the quiet edge of a forest and the outline of a bridge road faintly visible under dim light. A few moments pass, and then a massive shadow slowly moves across the bridge. Its size looks far larger than any person, and the outline almost hints at a humanoid shape, sparking comparisons to the legendary Sasquatch. But the footage is far from clear. It could just as easily be someone walking near a light source, casting a distorted shadow that appears monstrous on camera. With no supporting evidence, the claim feels shaky. Still, the image of that towering silhouette crossing the bridge is enough to stir unease. Even if it were just a regular person, stumbling onto that scene in the middle of the night would be terrifying. The night Sasquatch returned. A week after fleeing the forest, the investigator from Sooner Sasquatch went back with a new night vision device. Last time, he had heard footsteps and snapping branches but saw nothing. This time, the woods felt heavier, colder, as if the silence itself was watching. As he moved through the underbrush, twigs cracked and leaves rustled around him. The deeper he went, the more it felt the something was wrong. Then, a group of trees shifted, even though the night was still. His camera caught a fleeting shadow, tall and upright, gone before he could focus. Replay after replay showed only a blur, but enough to raise dread. The forest grew unnervingly quiet. Signs of something powerful were everywhere. Broken stems, bent branches, trampled ground. Then came a guttural growl from the dark. It rumbled deep and low, shaking his chest. Alone and unarmed, he realized it wasn't safe. Whatever was there stayed hidden, waiting. He turned back, but the feeling never left. Something had claimed that night. The Queensland Yowie sighting. On the 30th of July 2022, just as dusk was settling over southeast Queensland, something unusual was caught on camera. At 5:38 p.m., a brief 21-second video was recorded that appeared to show a Yowie moving through the area. The footage was later enhanced using filters to make the image clearer. When the brightness was adjusted, the figure stood out more sharply, and it didn't look like any ordinary animal. Its size and shape gave the impression of something far larger and different from what is normally found in those parts. For years, people have shared stories about Yowies in Australia, but sightings are rare and often debated. This short film added another piece to the mystery. Though only a few seconds long, it sparked fresh interest in whether these creatures could truly be roaming the wilds of Queensland. The New Year's Day encounter. On New Year's Day in 2020, a woman hiking in Northern California captured a strange image on her camera. While walking along a high, remote mountain trail, she noticed a tall, dark figure peeking over a ridgeline. When the photo was analyzed, the creature appeared to stand about 7 to 8 feet tall. Its shape showed a conical head and clear facial features that didn't match a bear. The outline was broad and upright, more like the descriptions often linked to Sasquatch sightings. Some people who studied the picture suggested it could still be a black bear standing in an unusual position. Others were convinced it was something else, something closer to the legendary Bigfoot. The image remains unclear, but its mystery continues to stir debate. A simple photo from a quiet hike turned into one of the most talked about sightings of recent years. Trail cam mystery in Montana. In southeast Montana, a strange image appeared on a trail camera near a spring where the camera belonged to a member of the Northern Cheyenne Nation living in lame deer. The photo seemed to show a tall, human-like figure with long arms and a rounded head. Its size and shape stood out, making it hard to dismiss as an ordinary animal. The capture was taken at night, with the camera's infrared lens adding to the eerie effect. The image quickly drew attention. Some saw it as a convincing glimpse of Bigfoot, while others remained skeptical, unsure of what the lens had caught. Yet, for those who viewed it closely, the details of the figure made the possibility difficult to ignore. For the Northern Cheyenne community, the photo became more than just a curious sight. It stirred fresh questions about what really moves in the dark corners of Montana's wide lands. The Eureka Bigfoot Encounter. In Eureka, California, a forester living on a 40-acre remote woodland claimed he captured something unusual on his camera. The footage, recorded deep in the forest, showed a tall, strange figure moving among the trees. The forester released the video, stirring both curiosity and doubt. Some people believe it could simply be a person in a costume, while others think it might be real evidence of Bigfoot. The recording adds to the long history of mysterious sightings linked to the creature. Each report fuels speculation, yet no one has been able to confirm the truth. The story raises the same old question. Does Bigfoot really exist, hiding in the untouched corners of the wilderness? Or is it only a legend passed down through tales and imagination? For now, the mystery remains unsolved, leaving room for wonder and debate. The Red Feather Lakes Mystery. In the quiet forests of Red Feather Lakes, Colorado, a set of unusual images surfaced online. They showed a tall figure standing on a mountain ridge. The pictures quickly caught attention, not because of any wild claims, but because of the figure's details. The side profile revealed what seemed like a face, eyes, a nose, a mouth, and even the outline of an ear. It didn't look like a shadow or a random shape in the trees. It looked like something alive, something watching. No one could say for sure if it was a Sasquatch or just an odd trick of light and distance, but the images stirred curiosity. For many, Red Feather Lakes suddenly became more than just another scenic spot in Colorado. It became a place of questions, a place that now carries a hint of mystery waiting to be explored. The skunk ape in the Everglades. In the Everglades, a man claimed to spot something unusual while exploring. He recorded a figure moving across an open field and later uploaded the video online. The figure looked tall, dark, and walked upright. Some viewers thought it was carrying something, maybe even a walking stick. Skeptics quickly pointed out it could just be a hiker with a backpack and stick. The footage was distant and blurry, leaving no clear answer. While many dismissed it, others connected it to Florida's own version of Bigfoot, the skunk ape. The skunk ape is said to be smaller and scruffier than the classic Bigfoot, usually between 5 and 7 feet tall. It's covered in reddish-brown hair and is infamous for its foul smell, which earned it the name. Legends of wild men in the swamps go back centuries, told in Native American stories long before modern sightings. The Young Bigfoot Clip. A video appeared online that some believe shows a young Bigfoot. It was filmed in daylight, though the footage is shaky. A small figure covered in dark fur steps out from behind a tree, charges toward the camera for a moment, then quickly disappears back into the bushes. The movement is quick, but clear enough to spark debate. Some say it looks like a bluff charge, a behavior seen in great apes when they try to scare away threats. Others argue it might be a prank because the timing feels too perfect, like it was staged. Still, some believe the clip shows a young Bigfoot that hasn't yet learned how to stay hidden. Whether prank or proof, the video keeps people talking, each replay leaving more questions than answers.
Holy shit!
The mysterious figure in the water. A hiker once spotted a large black figure moving in the water. At first, he thought it was a bear and kept his distance, watching quietly. Before leaving, he managed to snap a quick photo. Later, when he zoomed in on the picture, the details looked strange. The head wasn't round like a bear's but cone-shaped, and the body seemed more human than animal. The more he looked, the less it resembled anything he knew. He never learned what he had really seen that day. All he had was that single photo, and it left more questions than answers. To many, the figure looked like something beyond a bear, something that matched the old stories of Bigfoot. Bald Mountain River sighting. Blaine and his wife reported a fast, bipedal creature on the river bottom below Bald Mountain. An investigator enlarged the video but could not resolve clear details. The investigator noted 2 other sightings on the same mountain in the last 5 years. Searchers plan to check nearby soft ground and creek banks for tracks. Blaine said the behavior felt unlike a human. He and his wife were passing through from Tennessee and left before they could return to examine the meadow. Appalachian Backyard Find. Brian's friend filmed something strange in a backyard creek near the point where Kentucky, Tennessee, and Virginia meet. He was on his way to work when he noticed a large shape standing in shallow water. He used his iPhone 16 and zoomed in. The figure looked huge and dark. The head seemed rounded, and the eyes reflected light. The phone footage was enlarged later. At 300%, the subject still looked tall and solid. It did not move like a deer or a bear. The witness had seen odd signs on his land before this. Footprints and broken brush were found nearby. The video shows the figure standing and foraging in the creek. It could be many things, but at least for now, it is unexplained. People who study such footage should get better images. Until then, the clip remains a mystery and a strong claim from the witness. Bigfoot in the Tatra Mountains. In 2009, a video surfaced from the Tatra Mountain region along the Poland-Slovakia border. It shows a group of people relaxing by a creek when something unusual appeared. The camera is shaky, but for a few seconds, a tall figure can be seen moving on 2 legs at the edge of the trees before slipping back into the foliage. The footage is unstable, which makes it hard to judge. Later, an attempt was made to stabilize the video, giving a slightly clearer view of the figure. Even then, the mystery remained. Some believe the shaky filming was intentional, as the movement of the camera feels more than just casual. Others argue that cameras in 2009 lacked good stabilization, so the blur may be natural. The short clip sparked plenty of debate. Was it a genuine sighting of Bigfoot in Eastern Europe, or just another blurry shadow in the woods? The answer still hangs in doubt. The blurry Bigfoot in Georgia. One of the strangest stories out of coastal Georgia came from a family who claimed to spot something unusual in the woods. Others swore the details didn't fit: no tail, long limbs, and a way of moving that looked too fast and too graceful to be any normal creature. Stories poured in from people who had seen strange shapes in forests and dark roads, often at night. Some described short, hairy figures on all fours. Others said they had run into tall, hunched beings that moved in eerie silence. No one could agree on what the family really captured. But like most Bigfoot tales, the image stayed blurry, and the mystery only grew sharper. The strange figure in Trinity County. In Trinity County, East Texas, Sheriff Woody Wallace was addressing a common problem in the area: illegal dumping in a local park. To catch the culprits, cameras had been placed at both ends of the road to record vehicles entering and leaving. The sheriff was focused on the issue of trash and evidence of discarded cat food cans scattered across the spot. But while his attention was on the dumping, something strange appeared in the background of the footage. Between the trees, a tall figure covered in dark fur seemed to stand upright for a brief moment before slipping back into the woods. It was easy to miss, and the sheriff himself didn't appear to notice at the time. When the video later surfaced, viewers weren't talking about the trash problem. Instead, they were left stunned, asking themselves what they had just seen and whether something much larger than littering had been caught on camera.
This road, I have cameras up. I can see the cars when they come in. I can check the cars when they come out. They had a bunch of garbage when they come in, and it's not still in the back of their truck when they leave. We've got a problem. So this right here.
The tall figure in the grass. A man was hiking through an area where the grass grew high around him. As he walked, he kept feeling like something was following close behind. At first, he brushed it off as nothing more than his own fear playing tricks on him. The silence of the trail and the swaying grass made it easy to imagine things that weren't there. But then, something unexpected happened. Out of the thick grass, a clear silhouette appeared. From how much of it stood above the grass, it was obvious that the figure was unusually tall. The shape looked strange, almost hazy, as if it wasn't solid. Some parts seemed blurred, like dark smoke shifting in the air. The man didn't stop to investigate. Whatever it was, human or not, he decided not to take chances. He made it out safely, but the sight left him shaken. The tall, smoky figure in the grass still raises more questions than answers. Shadow in the Utah Pines. On January 15, a series of photographs was taken from a car with a handheld camera in the Uinta Mountains of Utah. The location was identified as near Farm Creek, one canyon over from UA Canyon on the west side of the road before reaching Moon Lake. The images show a tall, upright figure standing on a ridge. The subject displays a hunched posture and a slightly domed head. It appears to remain motionless in several frames, positioned against the tree line, giving the impression of camouflage. The area is widely known for reports of Bigfoot sightings, UFO activity, and local legends of skinwalkers. No statues, carvings, or artificial structures were noted in the location, and no obvious wildlife tracks were visible. The subject in the photographs does not resemble a typical human figure, does it? Its exact identity remains undetermined. What do you think it was? Any guesses? Let us know in the comments section below. In December 1998, the Edwardson family went to Fremont National Forest in Oregon to cut Christmas trees. Among them was 8-year-old Derek, nicknamed Bear Boy for his love of the wild. Excited, he ran ahead of his father and grandfather through the snow, until he spotted a line of footprints. He thought they were his dad's. So he followed them, but the prints were too big, far too big. Moments later, Derek was gone. When his family realized he wasn't with either of them, panic set in. They searched and shouted his name, but only the forest answered. A massive search began. Days later, they found a small shelter made from thick branches too strong for a child to break. The dogs brought to track him didn't follow his scent, they just howled. Years passed. Then in 2018, a wooden amulet with Derek's initials was found buried in the same forest, and nearby, tiny human bones carefully placed, as if in a ritual. Was Derek lost to the cold, or taken by something else? Some say Bigfoot watched him that day, and never let him go. 29. The Cave of Three Figures. The clip first appeared online on July 14, 2024. No story, no source, just a short, eerie video. But the camera was close. What it captured shocked everyone who saw it. An explorer had wandered deep into the forest. He found a hidden cave, silent, cold, and strangely alive. Inside were three figures. They didn't move toward him. They didn't even react to the camera. It was like they couldn't see him at all. Their bodies were long and thin, their skin dark and smooth. Their heads looked too big for their fragile frames. They moved slowly, tapping the rocky floor with long sticks, trying to find their way through the cave. The man kept filming, heart racing, but the creatures kept walking lost in their rhythm, unaware of his presence. Were they blind, or something else entirely? No one knows, but this video still sends chills to anyone who watches it. 28. The Vanishing Figure. It was late at night. The ground wet, the air thick with fog. A shaky camera caught something moving fast, a dark figure racing across the muddy field. At first, it looked like a person, maybe someone running home through the rain, but a few seconds later, something strange happened. The figure began to fade, piece by piece, like it was melting into the night, until there was nothing left at all. People who saw the clip were divided. Some said it was just a glitch, a trick of the lens, maybe light reflecting off the water. But others believed it was something else, something we can't explain, a shadow from another world. Even when the video ends, the feeling doesn't. You can almost see that shape disappearing into the dark. Was it just a glitch, or something that wasn't meant to be seen? 27. The Watcher in the Woods. A man was gathering firewood near his barn when something caught his eye, a dark shape in the distance. He lifted his phone to zoom in, and what he saw made him go still. By the tree line stood a tall, dark figure. Its arms hung low, longer than they should be. Then it moved, slipping behind a tree. For a moment, silence. Nothing else moved. Then, a smaller shadow appeared beside it. Both stood there watching before fading into the woods. He didn't chase or shout, he just stood frozen. The tall one turned once, almost like it knew he was there, and then it was gone. No one knows what he really saw that evening, but some believe the woods were watching him first, and maybe they still are. 26. The Thing on Mount Hiei Road. A driver in Japan's Mount Hiei region saw something strange that night. He was driving along a quiet mountain road when his headlights caught something moving on all fours. At first, he thought it was an animal. Maybe a dog or a wild monkey. But then, it did something that made his blood run cold. The creature slowly stood up on two legs. It turned slightly as if it realized it was being watched. Then, it tried to hide behind the guardrail, almost human in the way it moved. The driver grabbed his phone, snapped one blurry photo, and that was it. He didn't dare get closer. He just kept driving, heart pounding, hands shaking. Later, when he looked at the picture, he couldn't explain what he saw. Was it a person, an animal, or something else entirely? 25. The Thing in the Swamp. Josh was out hunting hogs that evening, sitting still in the swamp, dressed in camo, waiting for dark. It was about 9 miles west of Tunica, Mississippi. Then, a sound behind the tree. He turned slowly and froze. About 50 yards away, something huge crouched near a dead cypress. At first, he thought it was a hog, but then he saw shoulders and a head. Upright. It was digging into the stump using what looked like hands, not paws. Josh felt time slow down, his heart pounding. He lifted his phone and hit record. Then, the creature stood up, tall, broad, at least 7 feet. He panicked and ran, forgetting the gun, forgetting everything. Back home, he replayed the footage, the shape, the size, the movement. That was no bear. Locals talk about the skunk ape in these swamps. Could that be what he saw? No one really knows. But Josh swears it was real. 24. The Figure Behind the Trees. A group of friends in France were hanging out deep in the woods, just recording their day, laughing, playing, and shooting hoops on a small court they'd built between their cars. Everything was normal, until a sharp sound came from the trees. It wasn't an animal call, it was something heavier, something closer. The guy with the camera walked toward the noise. Step by step, the woods got quiet, too quiet. Then, he saw it. A tall, ape-like figure walking on 2 legs, slowly moving through the trees. Everyone froze. The camera shook. He tried to go closer, but his friends pulled him back, whispering for him to stop. The figure disappeared into the dark, leaving only silence behind. They didn't chase it. They didn't even speak for a while. Whatever that thing was, it didn't look human. So what do you think they saw that day? 23. The most convincing Bigfoot footage ever. A group of explorers ventured deep into a remote part of the US forest, miles away from any known path. At first, everything was calm, until that strange chill crept in. The feeling that someone or something was watching them. They decided to start filming, just in case. And then it happened. From the dense tree line, a massive ape-like creature burst out, its hair dark reddish-brown. It charged toward them with heavy strides. The group panicked and ran, but not before one of them caught it on camera. Moments later, the creature disappeared into the woods. But instead of running home, they turned back, believing it wasn't attacking, just warning them off. With shaking hands and pounding hearts, they followed it. And in a quiet clearing, it appeared again. The camera zoomed in. The hair seemed real, flowing naturally over its muscles. Not a suit, not a prank, something else entirely. Was it truly Bigfoot? No one knows for sure. But this might be the clearest footage ever recorded. What do you think? 22. The Yeti in the Snow. It happened deep inside a Russian forest, where the world stood still, and even the snow seemed to hold its breath. A lone man was standing there, surrounded by silence, his breath turning into pale mist in the freezing air. He scanned the endless white, when suddenly, something moved through the snowfall. A massive figure, pushing through the drifts like the storm was clearing a path for it. Tall, shaggy, upright. Its steps were too calm, too steady to be a bear. The man froze, his heart pounding, fear and wonder mixing inside him. He could barely believe what he was seeing, because right there, in that frozen wilderness, stood something that shouldn't exist. Something people only whispered about. Could it be real? Was it the Yeti walking across the snow right in front of him? 21. The Thing in the Woods. It was supposed to be a quiet day on his property. The man was fixing a fence when he heard its strange noises echoing from the woods. Not quite an animal sound, and not quite human either. Curious, he grabbed his camera and walked toward the trees. The forest felt heavy, quiet, like it was waiting for something. He lifted the camera, slowly panning through the branches, and then he saw it. Something moving in the shadows. A dark figure, tall and oddly shaped. It didn't look like a deer or a person. It was something else. He froze, his heart pounding. But before he could focus again, it vanished behind the trees. The woods went silent, completely still. It wasn't the first time he had felt uneasy there. He often heard strange calls at night, something between a bark and a child's voice. Some say it was Bigfoot, but what if it wasn't? No one really knows. 20. The Shadow near Priest Lake. Hiker Todd was hiking near Priest Lake, Idaho. A calm afternoon, camera in hand, just taking photos of the trees. Then, something moved, fast and quiet between the branches. He stopped walking, focused his lens, and started recording. At first, it looked like nothing, just shadows and leaves. But then a shape appeared, tall and massive, maybe 7 or 8 feet high, covered in dark fur. It moved slowly, like it was aware he was watching. The footage shook as he tried to zoom in. The image blurred, the figure still walking between the trees. No clear face, no sound, only the crunch of leaves underfoot. Then suddenly it was gone, vanished into the woods like it had never been there. He replayed the clip over and over, but the quality was too poor to tell what it was. What was it? A hunter? A shadow? Or something we aren't supposed to see? 19. The Figure on Panorama Ridge. After a long, tiring hike to Panorama Ridge near Black Tusk Mountain, a group of hikers stopped to rest. The air was thin, the view endless, the snowy peaks stretching as far as their eyes could see. But then something moved across the glacier. Far away, a dark figure was walking down the icy slope, slowly but steadily. At first, they thought it was just another hiker, maybe someone who took a different route. But the more they watched, the stranger it seemed. The figure wasn't following any trail. It didn't stop to rest. It just kept moving, strong and fast, covering impossible ground. Even from that distance, they could tell it was too big, too tall, and the way it moved almost effortless, like it belonged there. The group fell silent. No one dared to speak, because deep down, they all felt it, that chill crawling through their bones. Had they just witnessed something impossible? Could that figure really have been a Sasquatch? 18. The Figure on the Ridge. Daniel Benoit and his wife were hiking when they spotted fresh footprints in the soft soil. The marks were deep, clear toes, clear heels, and they kept going further down the trail. Someone or something had passed recently. They followed the prints to a small clearing. Daniel lifted his camera toward the hillside. A dark shape stood near the ridge. At first, it looked like a stump, unmoving, ordinary. But then, it shifted. Just slightly. Enough to catch the light. The head moved. The body crouched low, slipping behind the bushes. Every time Daniel tried to focus, the figure hid again. It stayed just out of sight, like it knew it was being watched. The blur on Daniel's camera came from the movement fast, careful, deliberate. The woods grew silent. Even the wind stopped. Uneasy, the couple decided to leave, walking faster than before, never looking back. Whatever was on that ridge, it was watching them too. 17. The dark shape at Salt Fork Park. A man was camping with his son at Salt Fork State Park. It was late, the woods were silent, until they noticed something moving through the trees. A dark shape, tall and heavy, walking slowly between the trunks. The man grabbed his camera. They managed to record a short clip before panic took over. They packed up fast and left the park that night, too scared to ever go back. Later, he uploaded the footage on his channel AJ Tausig, asking viewers what they thought it was. People brightened and stabilized the video, zoomed in frame by frame. It clearly showed something walking on two legs. Not a bear, not a man, something else. But the footage was too grainy, the details just out of reach. Some say it was Bigfoot. Others call it a trick of light. But if you look closely, you might see it too. What do you think it was? 16. The Sherman Pass Shadow. It began with a single image, taken on the 22nd of January 2020, by a webcam at Sherman Pass in Washington State. A tall, dark figure stood near a tree, motionless, almost watching. Some said it was just a shadow, but others saw something more, something alive. Days later, hikers in the same area spotted movement across the rocky slope, a large figure walking slowly, steady steps, too tall and too heavy to be human. They looked for footprints, for trails, but there were none. When the footage surfaced, people went wild. Some called it proof of the Yeti, the mountain legend said to haunt these peaks for years. Others claimed it was just a lighting trick. Still, Sherman Pass has always carried strange stories. Strange sightings. So, what was that shadow near the tree? Just light playing games? Or something that's been watching from these woods all along? 15. The Tofino Forest Encounter. Two brothers were out hiking near their family's campground in the forests of Tofino. It was a quiet evening of July 16, 2006. They were just exploring with a small camera. They expected to see deer, but then something moved between the trees, and that wasn't any deer. A tall, dark figure, nearly 7 feet, hunched forward, almost human, but not quite. It stood still for a moment, watching them. By the time they steadied the camera, it turned and bolted into the woods, heavy steps fading fast. When they went back, they found strange footprints in the mud. Not bear tracks. Not human either. Something in between. The footage later spread online. Millions debated what it showed. Both brothers still claim to be skeptics. But when they talk about that night, their voices change. They know what they saw wasn't normal. Could it be a bear or the Yowie of Tofino? 14. The Russian Bigfoot Chase. In 2016, somewhere deep in Bashkortostan, Russia, a group was driving through a dark countryside road. The sun was low, the camera shaky, and then a shadow moved across the frame. At first, it looked like a blur, but when zoomed in, the figure seemed tall, broad, and oddly shaped. The footage was grainy, typical of low light and old cell phones. But still, you could see it. Something was running after the car. The video analyst, Bigfoot Tony, studied it frame by frame, stabilizing each shot. He noticed the figure's strange movement, arms swinging together, almost like a swimmer doing a butterfly stroke, not how a human runs. Some said it looked angry, maybe hurt, maybe warning them to leave. Others saw something else, a hoax perhaps. But the low-set head, the wide shoulders, the conical shape, all too real to ignore. So, what was it? A Russian Bigfoot? Or just shadows playing tricks? No one knows. 13. The Bigfoot video from Russia. It happened in January 2013. 3 Russian youngsters were out in the woods when they noticed something strange between the trees. At first, they thought it was just shadows, until one of them pointed, "Look at those tracks." They followed the footprints with their phone camera on, each step taking them deeper into the forest. Then suddenly from behind the bushes, a tall figure appeared. It stood still, pale and hairless, just staring at them. For a few seconds that felt like forever. And then it moved. And then, slowly, at first, and then ran back into the trees. The boys froze, too scared to breathe. And then they ran all the way home, terrified and shaking. Later, they showed the video to the adults, watched it again and again, trying to understand what they saw. Some say it was a prank. Others still believe they caught Bigfoot on camera. What do you think? 12. The Alberta Trail Cam Mystery. In 2012, deep in the quiet forests of rural Alberta, Canada, a trapper placed a motion-triggered camera to track wildlife. He expected deer or maybe a bear, but what the camera caught was something else entirely. The image showed a large figure sitting calmly on the forest floor. Broad shoulders, long, muscular arms, and thick reddish-brown hair covering its body. Its head looked cone-shaped, with no neck at all. It seemed relaxed, almost aware it was being watched. Skeptics later said it might be a bear, or someone wearing a ghillie suit. But the proportions didn't match. Bears don't sit upright like that. And if this thing stood up, it would easily be over 7 feet tall. Some cryptozoologists even called it one of the clearest Sasquatch photos ever taken. Peaceful and alert, resting as if it belonged there. So what did the trapper's camera really capture? A glimpse of the unknown? Or just a perfect illusion? 11. The Craven Bigfoot footage. Near Craven, Saskatchewan, a family was out for a weekend ride when they saw something strange on a hill beside the road. A tall, brown figure walking on 2 legs, covered in hair from head to toe. They grabbed their camera and started filming. The creature moved with long, steady strides, its arms swinging low, and its head shaped like a cone. Then, it slipped into the bushes and disappeared. The footage was clear enough to spark debates online. Some said it looked too smooth, like a gorilla gliding over the ground. Others swore it was real, that the forests around Craven were perfect for something to hide. Even locals claimed to have seen something similar before. Was it really a Sasquatch? Or just a trick of light and distance? No one knows for sure. But the Craven footage still gives people chills every single time they watch it. 10. The terrifying sounds from the Canadian woods. It was early morning of December, around 9. The shadow in the bushland. August 19th, 2009. A group of researchers placed a trail camera deep inside a remote bushland in Australia. It was part of a wildlife study, calm surroundings, no signs of danger, just another field day. But when they checked the footage later, something strange appeared. A tall, broad, dark figure moving slowly between the trees. The branches swayed, the light flickered, but the outline was clear enough to notice. It didn't look like any animal they were studying. Too upright, too steady, almost human. For a few seconds, it stayed there, as if watching. Then it disappeared into the trees without a sound. The team couldn't explain it. Was it just a hiker in dark clothes? Or did the camera capture something no one has ever proven? Years have passed, but the mystery remains. That single frame of a dark shape still haunting everyone who's seen it. 8. The clearest Sasquatch footage yet. A new video of Bigfoot recently surfaced online, a massive figure standing in the clearing. The chest is broad. The face is visible. This is almost human, but not quite. For a brief second, it turns, then leaps away into the trees. When slowed down, the details become even clearer. The movement looks natural, powerful, yet smooth. During the leap, the muscles in its back and glutes tighten visibly, and the fur stays flat against the body, not hanging loose like a costume. That's what caught the experts' attention. They said no suit could fit that tightly, or move that fluidly. The second video makes things even stranger. Its stride is too long, the jump too high. every motion looks beyond normal human limits. Experts compared both clips, and none could match it to any known animal or hoax pattern. This footage is recent. No official source yet. Some believe the uploader is keeping the location secret, maybe to protect the creature, or maybe to hide something bigger. Whatever the reason, the mystery deepens with every frame. Was this really Sasquatch caught on camera? Or just another illusion that fooled us all? What do you think? 7. The Temagami Sasquatch Mystery. This short documentary follows Ben Mateen, a man from Temagami, Ontario, who claims to have come face to face with something strange in the deep forests of northern Ontario. The film focuses on the famous Temagami photographs taken by Jim Giardino. In one of them, a dark, upright figure stands beside a massive uprooted tree root. Many believe it could be the most convincing proof of Sasquatch ever caught on camera. The story doesn't stop there. It explores Temagami's wild terrain, thick forests, quiet lakes, and the haunting silence of the north. It also touches on old indigenous legends that speak of tall, human-like beings guarding the woods. To make things even more real, Helm Studios and Eric Lubati built a replica face modeled after what Ben claimed to have seen between the branches. It appears around 5 minutes into the film, leaving viewers with one big question. Was it truly a glimpse of Bigfoot, or just a shadow shaped by imagination? She was out hiking with her dog, just filming the trail, the wind, the calm of the forest. Everything felt peaceful until something shifted in the distance. Between the bushes, a large brown figure appeared. It wasn't moving at first, just standing there, almost like it was watching her. Then, slowly, it turned around and walked away, disappearing into the thick trees. The clip looked simple at first, just another forest video. But when she rewatched it later, that shape stood out. Tall and solid, too big to be human, too upright to be an animal. She tried zooming in, but the footage was blurry, shaky, impossible to define clearly. Still, that one frame, that moment gave her chills. It didn't feel natural. Not at all. Some say it was a trick of light. Others think it was something else. Something that doesn't want to be found. What do you think it was? 4. The shadow in the woods. A tourist clicked a photo while camping, and what showed up in it left everyone stunned. At first glance, it looks like a dark, bulky shape hidden behind thick trees. The figure seems huge, maybe even covered in dark hair, just like the classic Bigfoot stories. The lighting isn't great. The angle makes it worse. You can't see its face or details clearly, but the outline, it stands upright, almost human-like, yet far too massive to be a person. Some say it's just a bear, maybe caught mid-move. Others believe it's something else, something we've only heard about in legends. Still, like most Bigfoot photos, it's distant, blurry, and hidden in shadow. Enough to make you wonder, but never enough to prove anything. Was it a trick of light? Or did someone actually capture the creature people have searched for decades? What do you think? 3. The figure in the forest. A viewer who calls himself a Bigfoot researcher shared a strange clip from one of his field trips. The footage shows a dark figure moving between the trees. It's quick, almost like it's trying not to be seen. At first glance, it doesn't look that big. Not like the giant creature people talk about. Some even said it could be a young one, a juvenile Bigfoot, maybe. But others weren't so sure. The outline looked too human, the movement too natural, almost like someone dressed in black, sneaking through the woods. The clip ends just as the figure disappears behind a tree. No sound, no trace, just silence after it's gone. Was it really something unknown? Or just someone playing a trick deep in the forest? No one's been able to prove it. Not yet. 2. The face beneath the leaves. Deep in the woods, a camera caught something strange. A pile of dry leaves, scattered around a hollow patch of ground. At first, it looked normal. Nothing unusual. But when they played the footage back, something moved in the shadows. Some viewers said they saw a face hiding beneath the leaves. Eyes, a mouth, maybe even a nose, just for a moment. Others disagreed, said it was only a trick of the light. Maybe it was pareidolia when your brain turns random shapes into something familiar, like seeing faces in clouds, or ghosts in smoke. But this time, it felt different, because once you notice the face, you can't unsee it. Was there really something under those leaves? Or was it just our minds playing games? No one can say for sure, but the woods haven't felt the same since. 1. The Hutch Huffman footage. In 2001, a man named Hutch Huffman shared a strange video online. He said it showed a huge, fur-covered creature walking through the woods near his home. The footage was grainy, hard to see clearly. But the movement, that's what caught everyone's attention. You could see muscles shift under the fur. Each step looked heavy, real, not like someone in a costume. Experts jumped in. Some called it fake. Others said it was too natural to be staged. For years, they tried to prove it wrong, frame by frame. But no one could ever explain how it was made. Even today, the clip keeps showing up in online debates. Was it a man in a suit, or something real walking deep inside those woods? No one really knows. What do you think? Comment below. And for more creepy footage, you should watch this video right after this one.